All right, what's up guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm super excited to show you guys what I'll be installing on the M4 CS today, and it comes all the way from California from Horizon Motorsports, and it's going to be Horizon Motorsports single mid-pipe system that they have made for the S58 platform. The owner, Alex of Horizon Motorsports, reached out to me after he saw the first YouTube video that I put out on YouTube, and he asked me what my plans were with the CS, and I told him, you know, pretty much a full track build. So what better way and what better mod to install than a mid-pipe and or any sort of exhaust system to be able to hear the car itself, because we all know that most of these cars, unless it's a V8, are pretty muffled from the factory with all the resonators, even the downpipes and the muffler. So you can't really hear too much, and there's a lot of audio being pumped through the speakers when it comes to the active sound design. So when he reached out to me and he asked me if I would be willing to install the single mid-pipe from them, I was more than happy to do that. So that's what we're going to be installing today, guys. Again, I'm super excited to get this underway. It's a fairly simple install. I would say you can do it at home. That's up to you really, but I am going to walk you guys through it step by step like I always do, and I'm going to throw you up on the POV camera a little later. But shout out to my boy Wang. He's holding the camera for me right now. We just finished up doing a video for him as well. So again, without further ado, let's go ahead, let's start unboxing everything, get it all laid out, and show you guys what it looks like. All right guys, so everything is unboxed now, and it does look really good. One of my favorite things about this single mid-pipe from Horizon Motorsports itself is the finish of the actual stainless steel. This is 304 stainless steel, and this mid-pipe does feature a 3.5-inch width in the middle of the actual mid-pipe itself. As you guys can see, right around this section here, it's about 3.5 inches wide, so it is pretty thick. So I am very curious to see how it is going to sound once it's installed on the vehicle itself, especially when it's matched up with the titanium muffler that comes on the CS models. And to be honest, the real reason kind of why I pulled the trigger on this was honestly just because of the finish. It's a mirror finish. I'm sure it will, you know, change colors as the exhaust heats up and whatnot, but I just love how shiny it is. It matches the rest of the underbody of the vehicle for right now anyway. The more I drive it, obviously, the dirtier things are gonna get. But it does come with this super awesome brace here. And that just looks really good to me. I don't know if I have it upside down or right side up right now. But the logo on the brace right here and the logo on the mid-pipe itself is super sick. And what you guys are seeing is everything that the kit comes with. You have your clamps here, you have your clamps over here to bolt and mesh everything together, and then obviously you have your 3 sections of the single mid-pipe. So I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna switch over to the POV cam, and we're gonna go ahead and get the install underway. All right guys, so first things first, before we even get started, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make the cuts on the exhaust. Now if you guys don't know, I don't know how well you can see it, if you can see it, but there's these little dimples right here on the OEM exhaust itself, right back here at the back. And this is where the single mid-pipe from Horizon Motorsports is going to meet up. So we have to cut off at least that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to cut at this first dimple mark that you guys are seeing right here with my handy dandy cutter. Now what you guys mostly see on most YouTube videos, especially when they take it to a shop, they usually use like some sort of a sawzall or something. But this is actually made for cutting through piping, and that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be cutting through this exhaust pipe here. It usually works pretty well, and the cut comes out pretty clean. Funny enough, I have no idea what this tool is actually called, so if anybody knows what this tool is actually called, just comment it down below. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start cutting this exhaust portion right here. All right, so now that I got that lined up, now all we're gonna do is just start rocking it back and forth. Like so, and you wanna apply some pressure as you're doing it. And just like that, guys, it's separated. See how easy that was? Nice clean cut. You just take it off. So pro tip, guys, when you're doing it, try not to squeeze too hard, but that's okay that it bent it a little bit. We do have sleeves that are gonna go over it, so it's not that big a deal, but you're gonna do the exact same thing on this side. So I'll go ahead and do that now. All right, guys. Now that I have both sides cut, as you can see, I was a little bit more gentle on this side than the other side. The bend isn't as dramatic as this side is, but now that's cut, all we have left to do is just finish unbolting the rest of the exhaust. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the brace off over here. Take these bolts out here. There's gonna be one here in the middle, another one up here towards the center middle, and then unbolt this portion of the exhaust from the downpipe, and that'll be the portion of the exhaust that we just cut coming off. So once I have that off, guys, measure things out real quick, and then we'll start installing the single mid pipe from Horizon Motorsports. All right, so let's grab some tools real quick. This is probably one of the easier exhausts to remove, just because all the bolts are essentially the same. So we're gonna need a E12 and a 13. Would you look at that, my 13 is missing. Fun stuff. Well, let me use this real quick to remove this one E12. And then we'll swap this bad boy out. Next, I'm going to remove the brace. Alright, and we'll set all this to the side over here. We're gonna need those bolts later, but we won't be needing the OEM brace anymore. And then going from there, now all you have left is just the 13s here. And I will need a longer 13, so. Woo! Talk about a good catch. So you're gonna wanna remove the nuts here off of where the exhaust bolts on to the downpipes. Once those have been removed, should be this last one right here. Set those over here to the side as well. And now we have to try and finagle this off. Okay, so I tried to take this all off in one section, but I guess you do have to separate this side over here. And then we should be good to go. There we go. You can back this section off. So maybe my method would have worked if I remember that there were two more down here. Pipe will come down. Now we can start assembling the Horizon Motorsports single mid pipe. As you can see, there's a big difference. Again, this is a single mid pipe as opposed to the dual piping here that comes from the factory on your guys' G8X cars, whether it be an M2, an M3, or an M4. And as you guys just saw, it's not that complicated to remove. It's just a bunch of 13mm nuts and that one E12 bolt. So once all that's removed, the next step is starting to assemble the Horizon Motorsports single mid pipe. All right, guys, so while off camera, real quick, I just went ahead and grabbed a pole jack, put a little cloth over it, because we are going to need this as we start to assemble the single mid pipe. So first piece we're going to want to grab, and I already have it laid out here, going to be the piece of the single mid pipe that connects to the downpipe. So it's going to go just like this in this orientation that you guys are seeing. And I'm going to try my best to line it up first try. Ah! All right, so now that I got it lined up and in, I'm going to grab a 13mm nut. Just going to put it up there snug. I'm not going to tighten it too much because I just want to hold it in place as I start to adjust the exhaust. Now I will note that the single mid pipe provided by Horizon Motorsports did come with all the hardware needed. So it did come with these bolts over here that you guys are seeing, and it also did come with nuts. Now these were already on the single mid pipe, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the ones that are on the downpipes from that factory location, assuming these are provided, just in the off chance that those ones that are already there come out or they pop out, because they're only pressed in. So again, I am going to use the ones provided from the OEM downpipe. So I already have the nut right here, so I'm just gonna thread these in just a little bit just to make sure nothing falls. And I am using the nuts that came from those bolts from earlier that came with the single mid pipe, because they do thread in to the factory bolts here on the downpipe, so that's a good thing. Goes on ever so slightly here, and then I did use one of them for the middle section here, so I'll have to remember to put that one on. So now that I have this piece on, the next portion is going to be this middle portion back here. Take that bad boy off. This is where our pole jack is going to come in handy. So we're just gonna slide this on and over it. Now, obviously you don't want to go too far, but you are gonna have to figure out measurement and length as you do so. So I'm gonna put this right here for the time being. Ooh, and I have to say, guys, it already looks really good. As you guys can see, again, I really love this mirror finish that they have going on here. It does look really good. Just making some slight adjustments here, as I did have to slide the center portion forward just a little bit more. Next will be these pipes, and we might have to do some cutting. All right, so now that I have everything pretty much where I need it to be, mocked up how I kind of want it. Originally, I had thought that that first dimple that I had cut from the OEM exhaust down there was going to be enough room. However, after now putting on these pipes and test fitting, I see that I'm definitely going to need to cut a minimum at least into this third divot right here. But that's the best thing about the tool that I have. I can literally just sling it around like how you guys saw earlier, tighten it down and just take off another piece. And the cuts do come out pretty clean, as you guys can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then we'll retest here in a minute. All right, guys, so off camera, made additional cuts. So originally, we had cut where the first dimple was on the OEM exhaust back here in this section. And to come to find out, it was not long enough, or we didn't cut enough in order to fit the piping provided by Horizon Motorsports for the single mid pipe. So then we made an additional cut on the third dimple on the OEM exhaust fitting here. And then another thing that we also realized is, being that the exhaust system itself isn't pressing against this rear section here where the rear muffler is, this portion of the exhaust actually came forward. So once we pushed back on the exhaust, we realized that we had more room. So after we made that cut there on the third dimple here on the exhaust, and we pushed this portion of the exhaust back, and you're literally just going to grab both tips and then push it back. After we did that, then everything fit very nice, bolted in super easy. Another thing that you guys are going to want to know is, you see right here on this pipe right here for the passenger side, it only has one weld. So the one that has only one weld is for the passenger side of the exhaust, and the one down here with the two welds, this one is going to be for the driver's side. And again, as you can see, after we made that third cut, it's pretty much there. So now all we have to do is just push back on the exhaust a little bit, and then it'll mate up perfect, and obviously put the sleeves and whatnot on. So we're gonna go ahead, put this on now, and then after that, essentially it'll just be making sure everything fits correctly and then going from there. Oh yeah, and then another good thing that Wayne just brought up, the sleeves. One side is slightly bigger than the other, so the bigger side is going to go on the OEM portion of the exhaust, and the shorter side of the sleeve is going to go onto the Horizon Motorsport single mid pipe side. So like I said, we're going to finish putting this last section of the exhaust together here, make sure everything looks good, tighten everything down, get the fitment, and then obviously put the brace on as well, and then we can get our first start up and see what the car sounds like. I'm hoping that we can get a cold start, just due to the fact that the car has been sitting here for about 3 hours. So if we can do that, then I'll show you guys that. But if not, then I'll continue this video tomorrow with more exhaust clips and notes and stuff like that. All right, so hopping back into it, guys, we've tightened everything down, we put everything in place, and as you guys can see, it looks really good. Again, I really love this mirror finish that they have going on here. I don't know if that's a coating or if that's just the 304 stainless steel, what it looks like naturally, but my opinion does look really good. And yes, I did wipe it down just a little bit after installing it, but everything went together super easy. This is a really easy install in my opinion. It didn't take too long at all. And again, as you guys can see, this is all it entails. So I made sure that everything was tight. So you have, before you had a lot of 13mm nuts. Now that the single mid pipe is installed, there is going to be a lot of leftover 13mm nuts, but essentially the only ones you're going to need are the two that connect this portion of the pipe to this down pipe, the two that connect this portion of the pipe to this down pipe. You're going to need one here, and then that's essentially it, all the way till you get to the back here. But you didn't have to touch these, or if you did have to touch them for adjustment reasons, just make sure you put them back. But other than that, you're just going to use the hardware that you were provided, which are going to be all your clamps over here to make sure everything's nice and tight, you don't have any exhaust leaks. Same with these right here. Do your best to try to face them the best that you can in order to make sure that they're not at such of a low point that if you were to unfortunately hit something in the road, that these would also get smacked. I might adjust these a little later on, but the methods on how I tightened them, it made more sense to go ahead and do it like this for now. Same thing with this. I'll probably lift this up slightly more just so that it's not the lowest point of the vehicle. But again, super easy install, guys. Didn't take us long at all. Everything looks good. There's plenty of space here between the actual mid pipe and the brace, and the brace does look very good as well. And if any adjustments need to be made, you can always break these points loose here on the mid pipe itself, shove a little piece of wood in there, and then tighten everything back up, and that'll lift the actual single mid pipe from Horizon Motorsports up ever so slightly. But they created this concave design here in their brace, so it allows for that little extra room just in case it was to sag down after a couple of heat soaking cycles in the actual steel itself. But before I forget, let's go ahead and tighten down these last 13 mils here. All right, and that wraps it up. Everything is installed 100% to completion. I can't wait to hear the first startup, and I am very positive now that we will get an official cold start startup right here, right now. The car has definitely sat for a good enough time for everything to cool off. And again, I can't wait to hear what the single mid pipe sounds like now that there's no longer 4 resonators, you know, essentially muffling the actual exhaust note. So that paired with the titanium muffler here that the CSs come with, I think it's gonna sound really good. All right, let's get this first official startup. Alright guys, so I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that is as compared to the completely stock OEM setup as far as the mid pipe goes. It is a lot more noticeable. The pitch is a lot deeper, it's a lot louder, but it's loud enough to where it's not obnoxious, but to where you can notice the difference, right? Like even while I'm standing here, I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but even the idle is a lot louder. I like it a lot. I think that this was the perfect mod for this car, for this exhaust system, especially with what I have planned to do with it, which is take the car to the track. So now I'll definitely be able to hear where I'm at RPM wise and things like that while I'm on track. So this is gonna wrap up today's video. I'm gonna shoot more tomorrow. I'm gonna do a couple flybys, a couple more revs for you guys, just to give you a better understanding, give you some inside the car sound, so you know what it sounds like inside the car as opposed to being outside of the car. But again, I just want to say a huge thank you and a huge shout out to Alex, the owner of Horizon Motorsports. If you guys need anything from them, G8X, F8X, BMW related, make sure you hit up Alex. He replies very fast. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, I'll have an affiliate link. I don't know. If I do, I'll make sure to put it in the description for you guys that you can save a couple of bucks, whether you are purchasing the single mid pipe for the S58 that they just came out with, or you're looking for the carbon fiber parts or whatever it may be. So we'll fast forward to tomorrow. Alright guys, so we are technically on the second day of the install portion of the video, but technically this is like day 4 after recording the install. I've had the opportunity to drive the car around for a couple of days now, and I have to say I am very impressed with how the single mid-pipe sounds paired with the titanium exhaust that the CS comes with. It's a very good pairing together. And just to close out this video, I figured, you know, what better way than to do it with a nice little POV drive with some exhaust notes and whatnot. But there are some important things that I forgot to touch on, and I'm gonna go ahead and touch on those now. And that's, if you are to purchase this exhaust system from Horizon Motorsports, their single mid-pipe for the S58, whether that's an M2, an M3, or an M4, it does come with a lifetime warranty that is for any defects with the exhaust itself, whether that be cracks in the welds or any fitment issues. It is backed by a lifetime warranty. And I do have to say, guys, for the price point that this single mid-pipe is at compared to other competitors, it's almost a no-brainer. I mean, you guys hear how my car sounds currently right now. You hear how it sounds in the install video, and I do think it sounds very good as opposed to other competitors that are out there. And again, at the price point that it's at, you know, for me, it just made the most sense. But moving on from there, Horizon Motorsports, they are a smaller company, right? The owner, Alex, he primarily operates it. A little bit of assistance from some other vendors, but a little backstory on Alex himself. He founded this company back in 2019. He had an F82, and he had noticed that there was a gap in the market when it came to parts being sold, right? So, you know, just something as small as interior, exterior parts, people were charging anywhere from $700 to $1,000 for some parts like that. So he seized the opportunity by creating Horizon Motorsports and offering people those same parts at a much lower price than what was currently out there. And obviously, you know, in today's time in 2025, there are several different companies now that offer, you know, parts and whatnot, whether it be carbon fiber exhaust systems or anything like that for your interior. So it is very competitive, but due to the customer service that Alex provides himself, he has been able to retain, you know, anywhere between 35 and 50% of his clientele, meaning that, you know, they continue to come back to Horizon Motorsport for their parts for, you know, their BMWs. So that's just fantastic. Being that they're a small business and they're keeping up with all the big guys. I mean, again, they do produce super high quality parts. This is the first thing that I've installed from them. So, you know, I couldn't be more honored that Alex would trust me to install the single mid-pipe on my M4 CS to test it out for them, because I am the first person to have the single mid-pipe from Horizon Motorsports. And I don't know if I mentioned, but this mid-pipe, the single mid-pipe, is non-resonated. And again, it does sound really good. I'm sure you guys can hear the idle as I'm just sitting here at this red light, but I'll probably do a couple pulls for you if the light ever decides to turn green. And then that'll be that. That'll probably wrap up this video. All right, now that I got a little free space, let's do a pull and M2 so we can hear this exhaust. I'm telling you guys, this single mid-pipe from Horizon Motorsports sounds phenomenal. Definitely can't get enough of it. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the install portion. I hope that if anybody ends up purchasing this single mid-pipe for their G8X, whether that again be an M2, an M3, or an M4, I hope that the install portion helps you guys out greatly. I do have a discount code for you guys if you choose to purchase any products from Horizon Motorsports website. They do have to be Horizon Motorsport branded in order to receive that discount, but I will have that linked for you guys in the comment section down below. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you for your continued support up until this point. I greatly appreciate it. And again, thank you, Alex. I appreciate you, brother, for sending this out to me. I definitely look forward to working with you more in the future. So with that being said, guys, peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.